No, digamos, estaría en la lógica tuya, zurda, porque son violentos. En cambio, yo, como soy liberal, es el respeto estricto del proyecto de vida del prójimo. Jamás golpearía a alguien.
Puedo decir algo y voy a decir algo. Yo nací en la revolución cubana y me siento feliz.
Estás contaminada, claro.
Estoy muy agradecida y estoy muy agradecida de que ese país... que se ha convertido
entonces
verdaderamente en un régimen
Cuba,
donde
entonces,
no pueden dos hermanos gobernar durante 60 años.
Volvé a Cuba, que es un paraíso.
Verdaderamente me parece que es el país dentro de una isla condenada a la pobreza, que no tiene producción alguna y que ha sido dependiente de los Estados Unidos después de la Unión Soviética, ha resuelto bastante bien sus índices. Espera un momento, querido.
Más pobre,
espera un momento.
más pobre era
no, espera,
Japón.
banca un poquito porque
digamos,
lo tuyo
ustedes arrancaron siendo ricos.
Te quiero decir una cosa. Cuba es un país, aún con todas sus deficiencias políticas y económicas, ha resuelto muy bien el problema de la pobreza y la miseria.
Es
verdad, son todos pobres y hay muchos privilegios y eso está terminado hace mucho tiempo. No hay revolución revolucionada,
es un paraíso, andá, volvete a Cuba. Es decir, ¿sabes qué? Cuba,
yo no voy a volver a un lugar
antes del
donde...
comunismo, era de los países más ricos de la región. Mirá lo que hizo el socialismo.
Estás muy
todo lo que toca
equivocado.
el
No era un país
rico. Se destruye todo.
Cuba
Bueno,
puede ser un país rico porque no tiene una economía desarrollada.
¿Pero qué tiene que ver? Digamos, Japón era una isla así, una isla de piedra. Mirá lo que hicieron.
Tenés razón en eso.
Digamos, bueno, la diferencia es el capitalismo y el comunismo. Ahí está. Digamos, es una máquina de generar pobres.
El capitalismo
Mirá lo que
está
generó.
totalmente en crisis, Milei.
En crisis,
pero lo podemos resolver de otra manera.
El capitalismo. Tu problema es que no entendés qué es el capitalismo. ¿Cómo me vas a venir a hablar de capitalismo si no entendés ni cómo funciona
Milei,
el sistema
vos no tenés sensibilidad y no entendés nada de lo que es la vida, el amor y la gente. Y
no es una
qué,
cuestión de sensibilidad.
Te importa nada
vos
la
en
gente.
realidad, ¿sabés qué? Todos los buenistas, todos los sensibleros son una máquina de generar pobres.
Antes de continuar te invito a que nos apoyes en Patreon. Con solo $1 podrás acceder a contenido exclusivo del canal. El enlace está en el primer comentario.
Revolutionary from Central and South America that he wears proudly on his shirt. Could you imagine if I wore a figure on my... Oh, I'd be wearing a Che Guevara shirt. Go ahead, please.
Well, first off, I don't think most of that is true. Anyway, but moving on, we'll just ignore that point for now. Have you ever...
We can't hear you.
You're going to have to start from the beginning and slow down.
So I said I don't think most of that is true, so...
Che Guevara was unbelievably angry. In fact, he... time and time again. So that's a nice role model for you, but please go ahead.
I've not seen any of the evidence of that, but anyway, let's just move on. Have you ever considered how most corporations in America are structured essentially like private dictatorships, and most employees do not have any democratic control over their own workplaces? And do you think maybe that's part of the issue? Also, have you thought about how capitalism essentially abolishes private property for 90% of the population, and the fact that most people are not given free land as a birthright is a big part of the problem?
Okay, no. But so let's break this down. So I'm guessing you come from a more Marxist theory of value, labor, where you want the workers to own the means of production, right?
Right.
Okay. Are you aware that over 1 million employees in America right now are part of what's called voluntary employee stock exchange programs, where they actually do own the means of production? For example, Publix grocery store, which is the best grocery store in the state of Florida, is all employee owned. So actually in a market, you have the voluntary means to be able to have your employees own, quote unquote, the means of production without ever having to fire a shot. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the Mondragon Corporation in Spain?
Oh yeah, I've heard of it. Yes, and they're also widely inefficient and doesn't work very well. But if someone wants to form that sort of corporation here in the country, in America, they can. That's what's so beautiful about a free market. If you want to have what's called an ESOP, if you file on a federal tax code, an employee stock essentially exchange program, you can. If you want to have an LLC, an S corp, a C corp, you want to be the only person in your company, you can. What matters is what kind of value are you creating? And here's the big thing, is that just because someone gets rich doesn't mean someone gets poor. When someone works for somebody else, they're getting a wage, they're getting an opportunity. They're being able to get their kids through college, put food on the table. Where we disagree the most with the Marxist left is that the Marxists come after this and they will say it is inherently exploitation if someone is gaining wealth. That is wrong. That is fundamentally wrong. If you buy a product, not only did someone have to make the product, but they have a job, they have a wage, they're able to provide for themselves. But if your product isn't good, people are not going to buy it. If your product is worthless, people are not going to keep on buying it time and time again. That is why things get better over time. Capitalism does three things. Makes prices go down, quality go up, and more people that have more stuff. That is why the poorest people in America are the richest people in the world.